while sellers are cutting deals for buyers that we have not seen in years, and the table has officially been set for mortgage rates to finally come down. Hey, I'm Chris Slam. I'm a multi-state mortgage lender based out of California, and in this video, we're going to talk about the inventory explosion that we're seeing in many parts of the US. We're also going to talk about what's going on with mortgage rates and what we could see over the next couple months. And with that, we're going to jump right in. Redfin's article just came out and said that 41% of all sales included a seller concession. A seller concession or a seller credit can be where the seller will pay closing costs or do some sort of a credit or incentive to try to get the buyer to buy their property. Now, if you think about where the market was just a few years ago, it was not easy to buy a home. In fact, in most parts of the country, if you went to buy a property, you were competing against other offers. That is not the case today. Now, in some parts of the country, we're still seeing a pretty hot housing market, but in a Zillow article, it just said that 242 markets in America, they expect home prices to decline this year. And I really want to take some time to talk about that. Now, I live in California, and for those of us that live in California, that's not what we're seeing. If you look at markets like Sacramento or the Bay Area, they still have a pretty tight market. And in many cases, sellers are still getting top dollar for their property. But if you look at states where they had an explosion of inventory or a lot of new construction in places like Texas, that's not the story. Overall, though, if you look at inventory nationwide, it has been on the rise, and buyers are getting a better deal today than they've gotten in years. Now, the big question that I get every day is, what are interest rates going to do? And now, to be completely honest with you, nobody has the answer to that. But here's what we do know right now as I film this video in May. The table has been set for mortgage rates to come down. Mortgage rates are tied to the 10-year, and the 10-year is largely going to move based on inflation and the economy. And so if we see the economy continue to show signs of weakness, and we see inflation numbers come down, we are going to see mortgage rates come down as a result of that. Now, in the last week of April and the first week of May, there were some really important economic indicators that came out, both the PCE report, which is core inflation showing it is coming down, as well as some of the economic numbers such as GDP growth in the first quarter of the year, showing that our economy basically did not grow the way that most economists predicted it would. Now, for anyone that's connected to people that own businesses, restaurants, tourism, you're starting to hear more and more that people are cutting back. And this is something that is going to pave the way for mortgage rates to come down. So when I get asked that question, what I tell people is there's two stories to mortgage rates. The first one is the long term over the next year. Over the next year, most economists predict that we will see rates slowly come down as we see inflation come down. But the second story is what's going on with these tariffs with China. As the time I'm filming this video right now, we are still in a trade war with China. And honestly, that could be a black swan event. We're all going to have to watch and see what happens there. There's a lot of people that expect that could temporarily rise inflation, which would not be good for mortgage rates. And so expect volatility throughout the month of May. So what does this mean for home buyers that want to buy a home in the summer of 2025? Now, a lot of the home buyers today are what we call the move-up buyer. That's someone who has a home to sell to buy their next home. Now, remember, for people that need to sell a home that are hoping to get maybe a better price on a home, the longer you wait, and if for some reason prices did come down, whatever discount you're hoping to get on the next home, that's the same discount you're going to give the person buying your property. So I think for people that are move-up buyers, you just need to buy when the time is right for you, because trying to time the market if you have a home to sell, it just doesn't work. But for first-time buyers, it's understandable that you're trying to wait for a more affordable time to buy a home. The thing that you have to remember is this: for every 1% that mortgage rates come down, according to National Association of Realtors and some data they put out, 100,000 more buyers enter the market. I'll give you another stat. For every 1% that interest rates come down, home prices historically go up by 5%. And so you gotta be really careful if you're trying to time the market. It's May of 2025. Interest rates have been high for almost 3 years. And I can tell you, 3 years ago, when rates went from 3% up to 7.5%, I talked to a lot of you guys who were gonna wait for rates to come down or wait for prices to come down. And 3 years later now, rates are still high and home prices are higher in many parts of the US. So timing the market doesn't work. If someone's ready to buy a home and they're in a responsible position to do it, you gotta do it when the time is right. I would love to hear what your thoughts and questions are in the comments below. I do check them as much as possible. And if you got any value out of this video, do me a favor, like or subscribe. It helps this video go viral and it helps me out a ton. Hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll see you soon.